how often would you say you get sucked into a little bit of faffing in your business? You know those days where you feel like you don't really have a minute, you haven't stopped at all, and yet actually you don't feel like you've got anything sensible done. You're not quite sure where your time has gone. It's frittered away left, right and centre. You don't know where it's disappeared to, but you also can't put your finger on anything you've achieved. Now, I would honestly say that faffing is probably one of the most prominent skills I see amongst people building their own business. I think it's a bit of an art form. So today I want to give you 5 really quick, simple tips to help you faff less and focus more. So tip number 1 is to understand that the whole concept of time management is a complete and utter lie. The whole principle of time management is simply a stick to beat yourself with. The truth of the matter is that you absolutely can't manage time. There are always going to be 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in every hour, 60 seconds in every minute. You can't in any way, shape or form manage that, extend it, stretch it, repeat it. You can't do any of that. So the most important thing to bear in mind if you feel like you are a faffer is that it's all about responsibility. You can't manage time, but you can manage you. And that's the crucial difference. If you think you're terrible at time management, ditch that thought completely and focus much more on managing you. When you understand that what you do with your time is your responsibility and your choice, that makes a whole different ball game. So that's tip number 1, is take responsibility for what you do with your time. Always stop and ask yourself before you jump into something or before you react or before you get distracted, is this the right place to dedicate my time to right now? Am I doing the right thing or should I be focusing on something different? So step 1, take responsibility for what you do with your time. Step number 2 is to use schedules and deadlines. Almost all of us work amazingly well when we've got a clear deadline. If you know you've got to get something to somebody else by a specific date or time, if there's that accountability, it's far more likely to happen. So if you use schedules yourself, schedule in your day, schedule your week, schedule your month, you are far more likely to stick to that structure. Business is always going to be fluid because that is the nature of it. You can't ever schedule and beautifully plan things perfectly because there'll always be other things that come up. But the better your schedule, the stronger your structure, the more likely you are to stick to it, or at least stick to the vast majority of it. Also schedule in things like emails and social media, the things that very often become the rabbit hole or the big time stealers. Give them a deadline and then you don't actually lose half a day to those things. Tip number 3 is to match your work to your energy. So all of us have natural energy patterns. We've got people who are amazing first thing in the morning. We've got other people who just don't get going until mid-morning, but they love to work through the evening. There is absolutely no right or wrong with any of this. And when you run your own business, you have the privilege of choosing when to work and what to do at which specific times. So if you can get to understand which points in the day are you at your most focused, and then you can match your work to your energy levels. So when you have those points in the day where you have a natural energy dip, which all of us do, don't make that the time in your day when you're trying to work on something that's really important and detailed and needs a lot of focus. So match your specific tasks to your energy level and stop fighting against yourself. Tip number 4 is to understand how long things actually take. Typical things like an email that you're sending after a meeting, or a follow-up of something, or I'm just going to write my next blog, which you think is going to take you 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. That follow-up email that you think is going to be 10 minutes could easily be 45. When you get to the point where you actually understand how long things really take, then you will be able to plan and manage your time far better. Being massively enthusiastic and optimistic about how much you can get done in your time is what actually leads you to think that you can't manage your time, because you believe that things are going to take you 5 minutes when they're actually taking 50. And finally, I would say use lists and reminders. And this doesn't have to be one strategy that works for everybody. Somebody might say that they absolutely love reminders in Outlook. For other people, particularly me, they just don't work at all. But there are loads of different systems out there. There are spreadsheets, there are automations, there are to-do list kind of systems. There's also pen and paper. None of this is right or wrong. The only thing I would say is make sure you have a system that works for you. Keep tweaking it because it's likely to naturally evolve as you evolve with your business anyway. But find a system where you can actively manage your daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks. And it also means that when new things come up, you don't get distracted by having to do them today because you've got a list where you can park them until it's the right time to deal with them. So those are my 5 strategies to help you stop faffing and get focused. If you would like a little bit more hands-on help with this, if you know this is one of your really big challenges and it's stopping you hitting your goals, then why not speak to me about my one-to-one coaching, and we can get all of this put in place together in your business, and I can hold you accountable to make sure you actually hit those goals and get cracking as you want to.